I'm knowing a version of myself that I had no idea about. And I'm always amazed. I'm like, oh wow, I could actually enjoy life at this level without having to.
Welcome to HealthSpace Podcast. I am Lubabalo Mnyaka. We had a lovely topic last week, and we had so many points that we would like to actually break down. And I have invited Tash, the stylist, so we can continue where we left off. Hope you enjoy this session. They normally say knowledge is power, but I say applied knowledge is power. So this means that for you to actually apply all that you know, you need to know less so that you can apply, and then you gain more as you apply. Otherwise, if you have a chunk load to apply, then you get lost in the application, and that's just the end of it. So yeah, Tash, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me once again.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
What have you been up to?
Work, events, planning events. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Been busy with work.
So work events, what type of work, what type of events? Like who's the clientele? Like what's their persona?
So I'm planning a 40th birthday celebration for one of my clients. She likes to plan things ahead, so we're already way ahead of our time because she wants to make sure that everything is done. So it's from corporate events to birthday celebrations. I like to keep my events small and intimate. They're easier for me to get into because it becomes personal for me with my client. I build
Yeah.
relationships with my clients, so it no longer just becomes about the event, but we walk the journey together. And in that, we actually, you find that it goes beyond just that particular day, but that relationship that has been formed speaks into the wellness coaching that I do, and we end up moving from just planning an event to actually doing life together. So that's how I really um, like to look at my work, that it's beyond just doing a once-off event, but it's a journey that everyone that I encounter, we build and form some form of relationship, and we walk together and, build from there.
Oh, okay. That's nice. I like that you're offering the event side, but also the more intimate side, which is now your wellness side. And I do think mental health is one of the underlooked or underrated challenges that we have worldwide, and I don't think it's just in Africa, but I think it's just easy to say, you know what, get over it. We've all been through things, and all will be fine. It's easy when someone try to express themselves, and you just say, you know what, no, we will be fine. And I'm glad that there's spaces where one can actually be heard and valued, as far as your wellness, your mental health issues beyond just events. You mentioned your client celebrating their 40th. So
Yes.
what does the celebration mean to you? I'm asking this because we in our last session we talked about the state of mind, things we do, and things we think of, the energy, the vibrations, the frequencies, etc. So
Yeah.
now I'm asking, what does a celebration mean? Why do people celebrate things? Are they celebrating things because they're saying, I have, or they celebrating things because they're in prayer mode that I'm acting happy because I want to be happy, or it's a confirmation that I'm doing this because I have a life to celebrate. I have a milestone that I've reached that I'm celebrating. So yeah, along those lines, I know I've said a lot, but yeah, from
Yeah.
your understanding.
I think I've encountered different clients and they all have different reasons for their celebrations. But for some reason, with the clients that I usually get, it's to celebrate life as as they leave it, because you'll find that maybe they've gone through a very difficult time, or they just, in that space where they're grateful for the gift of life, to actually say, you know what, everything might be going crazy right now, but actually I'm in this moment and this is a cause for me to celebrate, and I'm definitely going to do that despite what's going on. And to actually, and sometimes it's to actually say, I'm moving away from what I'm feeling or what I'm going through, so that I look ahead and become hopeful for the future that's ahead of me, because there's so much more to celebrate than just being stuck in this very moment that I'm in, because it's a passing moment. And so I feel that with my clients, they look forward to living a full life. They are excited about, being where they are, whether it's good or bad, but they are looking forward to the next chapter of their life, and they're excited about that.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
When you mentioned that, like prioritizing happiness and celebrating good things, you realized that, like, most, like, under normal circumstances, you sort of like feel bad for getting yourself a new pair of shoes or a handbag here and there. But if someone passes on at home, all of a sudden there's thousands that are available to take care of that. And yet, for things like taking a vacation or just celebrating a 40th, we sort of
Yeah.
like see it as a waste. Have you noticed that? And what's your take on that? Because we always have money for bad things. Like, we always have money for rainy days. Why
Yeah.
don't we have money for sunshine days?
But
Our
you,
minds are like so programmed that we programmed for failures, we programmed for difficult times. As such, we taught to prepare for difficult times, and we never live to enjoy the good moment. Hence, in our memory as well, we vividly remember bad times than the
yeah,
good times.
yeah. It's funny that you actually mentioned that point. Just this afternoon, I've been on my laptop most of the day, going through work, doing the stuff that I need to do, sending stuff to clients and all that. And at some point, I was just starting to feel overwhelmed, and I said, I need a break. But
Mm,
usually, when you feel like that, you're like, oh my gosh, I've got so much work to do. I've got so much on my plate. I can't afford to take a break. I said, no, I need a break. What do I need? And I said, I want to have a cup of coffee, but I have this favorite brand of biscuits that I love.
mm,
I, I went to the shops to get myself those biscuits, and I
yeah,
came and I said, I'm putting everything on the side for now. I'm not doing any work. I'm going to just take 30 minutes for myself to sit, enjoy my coffee,
yeah.
enjoy it. Then I can get back to everything that I need to do. And that is the one thing, we have to be intentional about investing in ourselves, because we feel so bad. Like you're saying that, when was the last time you just went into a shop and said, I want to buy myself a pair of nice shoes, and not feel bad that maybe I've not paid school fees, I've not, I've got so many responsibilities, but I just need to do this for myself. I remember having a conversation with a friend. She called me and she said, oh my gosh, friend, I need to do something. I said, what do you need to do? She says, okay, I need a voice of reason here. Talk me through this. I said, okay, let's talk. She needed to change her car. And
Mm,
so her first conversation was, I need something that will help me generate more income, because I need to change my car. So I need to be able to do that and not, shake things up in my finances. I said, okay, if you are to get a new car, how much of a disturbance would that be in your finances? She says, well, not much, but because I have so many responsibilities because of black tax, unfortunately, as we have black tax, and so you have to look after your parents, your siblings, your nieces and stuff. So that's the situation that she finds herself in.
mm,
what How important is this car to you, and why do you want to change it? She says, oh, okay, my current car is giving me issues and the value is going down. If I don't change it now, I'm worried that I might find myself one day not having a car. So I say to her, well, this car is a necessity for you, because if you don't have a car that's functioning, you won't be able to go to work. which means you won't be able to look after the people that you're looking after. So you have to look at it that way. And she says, but it's also just for me. And I said, then why are you feeling bad getting that car? Because she felt really bad. And she's like, maybe I won't be able to do the things that I'm doing. I said, no, you have to have faith that for where you are going, you are able to actually have the finances to do the things that you need to do, so that you don't feel drained by looking after people. And at the end of the day, when all is said and done, you say, I worked for everybody else and not myself.
Yeah, I
And then,
mean, it's
so we
exciting
went
by paying bills.
able to come up with
Having,
an idea. Okay, extra income, this is how you can make it, but this car is for you, and it's going to fill your tank. And when it fills your tank, even when you go to work, you are more excited to actually do the work, because you've said to yourself, I'm doing this for myself.
mm, wow.
Yeah.
It's like I'll go back because we into load shedding and power outages, this and that, and then
Yeah.
it's water this side, electricity this side, and there seems to be a common denominator here, which is maintenance.
Yeah.
So if you don't maintain this vehicle, that is yourself being the
Mm-hmm.
provider to like that family. So at some point you're gonna crash, and they won't have a provider because
Yeah.
they're not the ones that are taking care of you as the vehicle. So you know your needs, you know your needs and requirements, you know your state of mind, and
Mm-hmm.
can't always give. Yes, you feel bad that the car that you're buying now, maybe you could have paid school fees for so you could have done this and that. But at some point you will crash because you also have your own needs. And for you to continue being a provider, your cup needs to be filled up. And if you don't do that, the time you realize that you'll be almost too late. And
Yeah.
yeah, you just feel guilty. Like it's so easy to take up 2 grand, help a family member, take so much, pay school fees, etc. But just to buy something for 500 rands for yourself, like you start questioning yourself, you start having to weigh options, like you
Mm-hmm.
start wanting to validate that. Do I really need this? I'm not saying we should be reckless, and
Yeah.
this is not
Yeah.
a financial advice as well, because we're not financial advisors, but just
Yes.
about reality. You know,
Yeah.
we often put ourselves at the back, and somehow we expect ourselves to function at the best level when we need it, yet we were never at a point where we actually filling up our cups, we rejuvenating, and we were freshening up so that when we need it again, we're there full force, and we never think of that.
And ready to go. And for me, honestly, it goes beyond even just the financial aspect of it. Like I was
Mm,
saying, taking that 30 minutes um to recharge and replenish yourself is important, because we're always giving of ourselves. And I'll tell you this, at work, when you go to work and you're working for an employer, if something happens to you, you are replaced the very next day.
mm,
The very
yeah,
next day, you are replaced, because the company has to keep going.
mm,
Think that things will break if we are not there. Nothing
yeah,
breaks. Sometimes just taking time for your own mental health and wholeness is very important, to say, okay, I'm not coping. What do I need to do to make sure that I'm okay? One of the things that I've done personally is to make sure that I've got hobbies that I enjoy. I like going to the gym.
mm,
That is an everyday thing. If I actually don't go to the gym, I can feel that something is a bit off, because that recharges me. So that
yeah,
time to actually be with myself. I've got my music on, whether I'm listening to a podcast or my favorite music. I am pumped. I'm in my zone. I'm in my happy place, for myself. I like to dance. So I go dancing whenever I can. I like to hike. And those are all things that I do for myself, so that I make sure that I'm in a good place, and I'm, having moments where I recharge. And then as a parent, I've got time where I need to spend time with my kids, so that, that whole aspect of my life is fulfilled, so that they also don't feel like our mom is only doing stuff for herself, but what about us? And then I've got time where I need to actually work and do the work. So having that balance is very important, because we find that a lot of the times we work so hard and then we think, oh, one day I'm going to go on holiday. But if we are to ask a lot of the people today, if we're to do a poll and say, when was the last time you actually intend? Because we think that going to our family home is a holiday. That's no
Mm.
holiday.
You come back so tired.
That is not a holiday.
Mm.
It's not a holiday at all. When was the last time we intentionally booked a holiday and said, I'm going away to relax, refresh, renew?
Yeah. Eh?
It doesn't have to be a long holiday. This past weekend, I was I had my alone time. The kids were not here, and I decided I'm not leaving the house. From the Friday to the Sunday, I was indoors. I was having my own internal check-in to say, okay, where are you? What's happening? I'm planning, my the next couple of months for myself to say, okay, in terms of work, this is what I'm doing. Okay, this worked, this didn't work. I was doing a self check-in to say, am I okay emotionally? Okay, some things have triggered me. Why were they triggering? All those things. We never have time to actually do self-evaluation and just sit back and say, let me take stock of where I am and what's happening.
And that did not cost you anything, because someone else would easily say, no, you're talking like this because you have means. You're
Mm,
talking like because you don't understand. So,
yeah,
for example, going back to hobbies, you don't always have to spend. For example, going hiking,
yeah,
taking a walk, running, dancing. Like what type of, like, what other hobbies would you like are out there? Because I think also lack of information it becomes a very low ceiling, because
yeah,
when we think of hobbies, for example, we think of what you know, or of what we often hear within our circles, and we think of finances, etc. But there's so many things that one can do and actually enjoy, and come back filled up, like your tank is full, and
yes,
you haven't really spent anything significant.
absolutely. I mean, there's so many things. You've mentioned hiking, there's walking. Uh, there is so much that we can actually do that we think we need to spend money on. I think the biggest thing is whenever someone speaks of a hobby, they think, oh, I'm going to have to spend. I
Yeah.
dance house by myself. I
Mm,
don't need to spend any money on that. I'll
yeah.
play music and have fun, because the reality is we have to find, once we find the thing that works for us and we're intentional about it, everything that we need begins to open up. You'll be invited to a social dance club if you like dancing. You'll be able to connect because your conversations are also around those things that you begin to hear. Oh, okay, actually on a Friday we do a dance class and it will cost you 100 rand. If you don't have the 100 rand, there's an after party that starts at 7 o'clock and that one is free. There's
Mm,
nothing that keeps you from going there.
yeah. Hey?
There's
Once
absolutely
again, back to
go
what I
and
was
read
at.
a book. You like reading books. Take a nice
Yeah.
book, go to the library, read a book.
Mm,
Form a book club, connect with other like-minded people.
wow. And we always, like I said, we always have money for other things,
Yeah.
like for bad things, like hectic things. We always have money, but we never have money for ourselves. Like, I mean, minor things. Like, when was the last time you just like took a walk or a drive just to buy yourself ice cream? Like, you know,
Yeah.
simple things. Like, we often forget things that used to make us happy as kids.
Yeah.
If you were to look back and things that you actually used to dream of as a kid, and you actually realize that you have everything that you've actually dreamt of as a kid, but you don't realize that because it's always next, next, next. And like I'm saying now, simple things like you when you're given 5 rands or 2 rand 50 to go buy ice cream, you wish you had 10 rands so you could buy more. But now you
Yes.
have had 10 rands, but you've not even realized that actually you still have, you actually have more means to actually enjoy what you used to enjoy, and to
Yeah.
awaken the kid inside of you. And it's small things, like small things, but we're so busy. It's hectic, and yeah, we never have time to breathe and, to just to look back, like you're saying now, to reflect and, count your blessings,
Mm,
realign, check if your vision is still in place, check
yeah.
your actions. I mean, for example, now we're in the second quarter now of the year. Um,
Yes.
it's easy to say, wow, a year has gone just like that, and we have nothing, tangible,
Yeah.
because we did not have plans.
Yeah.
And also, how do you tell if you had a good or a bad year if you did not have plans? Because to have a good or a bad year, it needs to be based on something, and that
And
something needs to have
like,
thought of in Jan, not in June. So,
yeah.
whew, yeah,
And even going back to the plans that you had beginning of the year to say, okay, did I actually do the things I wanted to do? If not, okay, what happened? What didn't happen? How do I get better? What do I need to change? All those things. We don't do that for ourselves. We companies do that all the time. They have, you know, these evaluations to see where they're going, if there's growth, but at a personal level, we don't do that. Why is it that we don't do that? Because we
yeah,
need, because how do we know that we're actually progressing and making the necessary changes that we need to make if we don't have that time for ourselves to actually just reflect? And like you're saying, it really cost me nothing this weekend to be in the house. I could
yeah,
about doing other things, but I realized I needed to have that because where I want to go and the things that I want to achieve need me to be able to constantly be going back and saying, going to the drawing board and saying, okay, this worked, this didn't work, so how do I get better in this area? Okay, if I'm failing here, who do I need to get in touch with that can help me to actually elevate and get to that next level? Because sometimes we also think that I can do it all by myself. There is absolutely nothing that you do as a disservice for yourself if you don't think that you need other people in your life who can actually help you, because you don't know what those people will do to open doors for you into places that you actually never imagined. So
mm,
collaborating, partnering with people, the right people, is important because we need each other. There is
wow.
no there's no no man is an island.
Yeah, yeah,
Other we each other's support, and there are journeys, yes, you can do by yourself. You can, I mean, your vision remains your vision, but you've
yeah,
got people that will actually help you to say, maybe here you're not seeing clearly, why don't you try this? And as soon as you do that, you're like, oh wow, actually I never thought about that. So what is our network? What is
mm,
our network like? Because our network is ultimately our net worth, as they say. And so
yeah,
who you are surrounding yourself with will is going to have an impact in who you're becoming and where you're going. So if you surround yourself with people who are constantly complaining, always looking at problems, because I think that's also the biggest thing, that we look at our lack and we say, oh, I can't do that because I can't afford it. I remember before having a car, I love taking these long drives by myself, just drive out of town and come
mm,
back. And I remember thinking, oh, when I have my car, I am going to do that. I will be taking these long drives. And
yeah, yeah,
life got hectic. And I remember sitting down one time and I said, when was the last time that I actually took a drive that I promised myself that I would be doing from time to time? And when I eventually did it, that was the best thing that I did for myself. And just to, to really speak to that point was, the next time that so after having that conversation with myself, I started, being intentional about once in a while taking that trip. And I remember one Friday afternoon in December, it was on the 20th of December, i I was feeling so heavy in my spirit, and I just said, I need some time out. I was working from home, and I said, something is just not adding up. I just need to go out of town and work from a tranquil place. I like beautiful mountain views. So I take the drive in the afternoon and I go there early morning, like mid morning. I drive, I go there, I spend the whole day. I leave there around 7 at night. I come back, get home, nothing hectic.
mm,
Saturday, afternoon, Saturday, I'm in the house. I'm having one of those weekends that I just feel like I need to be internal. I need to go internal and just be with myself and check and see what's happening. So I'm in the house. I'm just doing what I'm doing. And then that afternoon, I got the call that changed my life. My
Mm.
granddad passed away.
Jesus.
Now imagine if I had not taken that. By the time I went to the funeral, I had had time
Mm.
in my head. I was in a better space, and I was
It
able
was
to
full
process
time.
grief in a much better way than if probably I had not gone for that drive.
Mm. Wow. Sure. We've said so much, but now one is wondering, so where do I start? Because obviously you can't start like with a big picture, but
Yes.
what's the smallest thing you can do? Like, as in right now, what's the lowest hanging fruit? To someone that's listening, like, what can they do to begin this journey of filling up their cups, and
Yeah.
so that it can overflow? I often say, good or bad, there is never a point in your life where something happens physically and it has not occurred in your mind first.
Yeah.
It's something that we can debate all we want, but not, you never find yourself in a place that you've never found yourself in your thoughts. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's easy to say these things, but like now, where does one start?
So for me, I always say what is internal is what will give you an indication of where to start.
Mm,
Your passion, the things that come naturally. We are already wired with the things that we need, each and every one of us. Why is it that I like dancing? They
mm,
say who can't dance to save their lives.
yeah.
But for me, it's something that when I dance, I feel happy. When I go hiking, I feel fulfilled. Yet else will say, when I read a book or I just sit in the garden and I look at flowers or I do gardening, I'm
Mm,
what is it that comes naturally and comes easy for you to do without you having to think twice, or nobody has to convince you to do it? When you get up, you say, this thing is what I love to do. If it's cooking, cook. Invite friends over, host people. Whatever it is that comes naturally for you is the thing that is going to fill your tank. So if you find going to feed the birds at the zoo fulfilling, go and do that. From there, you actually start finding the joy and the glimmer of hope. You start smiling more, you start laughing more, because it's bringing joy into your space, it's bringing joy into your life. And as you keep doing that more and more and more, you actually start opening up to even more greater things that you even discover about yourself that you probably didn't know. I mean, I'm knowing a version of myself that I had no idea about, and I'm always amazed. I'm like, oh wow, I could actually enjoy life at this level without having to kill myself or kill the bank, and still just have moments where I love talking to people, just having one-on-one conversations with friends. That fills my tank. So if that's what works for you, do that. And then before you know it, you actually, it just becomes natural. Like you just start wanting more and more and more, and before you know it, you are actually happy.
wow. So, what
We think
about?
happy is not complicated at all. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, I definitely agree with you. And with that said, in fact, even last time I said, I mean, we can go on and on these topics, uh,
Yeah.
but let's break them down. I think, yeah, we've shared enough for the day. Um, Knowledge is not power, applied knowledge is power.
Yes.
So I hope what we've shared today resonates with someone, and I hope it helps, in filling one's tank. And
Yeah.
yeah, let's catch up again next week. I cannot wait.
Thank you very much, Lubabalo.
And may you have a great day further.
Thank you. You too.